ouch. Ow, ow, ow. I need to show you, or I'll just write it down, maybe the directions. Well, it's already written down, but I'll make sure it's understandable because next week, unless you want me to come in for the DRC meeting, I mean, yeah, it's easy. I mean, now a lot easier than before, seems like. We can do a practice one. I think it'll be easy for you. I think it was a little, Susan, I don't think spends a lot of time on computers. Oh,
Hey, Dwayne, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I messed it up.
Now you go.
Now we're live.
Now I can hear you.
Yes.
The
Awesome.
voice of Radio Georgetown is now here, Dwayne Gosinski.
Heck yeah. And I didn't even drink any coffee before this meeting.
Okay.
So I'll probably talk more, but only at half speed.
And we're on the air, so
Awesome.
So don't say anything inappropriate.
I never say anything inappropriate. Bye-bye.
yeah, you always ask the better half about that question. They know
Yes,
better.
it's not always good.
That's right. Denise had sent a message asking for an update on the completed projects or partially completed projects.
Yeah.
And I can share my screen at a certain point and bring that up, and then we can look at that.
Perfect.
So it's pretty simple. And that's what staff put together. I didn't really, Jennifer and Mary put that together. That was great. So
Awesome. I saw that that Kathleen can't make it. Anybody else? Everybody else gonna make it?
as far as we know,
Awesome.
but they may have forgotten to put a sticky note on the door or anything. I don't know.
I miss actually getting to have meetings, but this is nice too. And it definitely fits for now.
Yeah. It's nice that some folks can attend when they're not in town. Makes it nice. So, although we're getting more people that are attending or getting used to it, so they're attending as just as attendees.
Oh, cool.
So,
Yeah, the more
And-
people involved, the better.
well, Denise and Ann are here, so. If you're saying something, Denise, we can't hear you. I don't know why.
How are you, Ann?
I'm here. Aren't you
Awesome.
surprised?
Well, I gotta say, yeah, it's been a long time.
You're supposed to text me 10 minutes beforehand so I don't forget.
I will next time.
Yeah, it hasn't made it yet.
Looky there. You're fine. You're fine.
It can be
No,
part of
Gary's
it.
not allowed.
Yes, it's not allowed.
Looks like Ed popped up, kind of. There he is.
There's old Ed. Hi, Ed.
Oh, I meant to get beer.
We still have to do that little fun meeting at the new brewery. I've yet to been there. Rick's been there a bunch,
Oh, no.
and I just haven't quite made it there yet.
Oh, whatever.
Did you ever get together with Justin on his MG?
I know how they do the telephone. It's out of state telephone, and I can't do it.
He's in California right now. He's, got some family things going, but
Oh,
it's a pretty nice car.
well, I tried to get them, and it wouldn't work. So.
Have you guys heard anything with the Evergreen fire? If they've got it more under control or anything?
Yesterday wouldn't. It wasn't under control. I don't know about today though.
Gotcha. I haven't heard anything since last night.
No.
Well, it's 6 o'clock, Dwayne, and I think we could start at, or 6:01 now.
All right. Yes. Well, let's call this meeting to order. And Jennifer, you gonna do roll call?
Sure. Ann Wilkins,
Here.
Ed Hoover,
Yeah.
Denise Newton. She's waving, she's here, so and Dwayne Gazinski.
Here.
Can you use your chat function, Denise? Down on the bottom of the Zoom screen, it has chat. I don't know if you can use that or. There you go. Hey. Hey. So that'll work. Okay, Dwayne.
Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Can we get
I
a second?
second it.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We saw Denise's hand, so. I don't think we have any audience's business, do we, Kent? I
No,
can't see anybody else, so. Any new business?
no. Just the review of the the continuation of the review of the 2016 comprehensive plan update.
All right, plan theme, a place where people live.
And I'm going to share my screen to bring up the comprehensive plan update. And the section that we're going through today is a place where people live. And the theme goal is that we will develop and nurture Georgetown's residential areas, provide high quality community services and facilities, and support the enhancement and protection of our recreational and cultural amenities. That's a lot of big words.
Yes.
Good deal. Georgetown's remained steady at about 1,000 residents. Census is ongoing right now, so if you haven't filled out the census, please do. You have a little bit more time to do so, and they estimate about 50%, it's just under 50% of Georgetown has completed the census so far as the census update. But this talks about at the time of this comprehensive plan, which was 2016, talks about Georgetown Lake. The next paragraph of Georgetown Lake and the public lands surrounding Georgetown provide ample recreational opportunities. And it talks about the Tom Benhoff Lake Trail. And then also several trail connections are proposed to complete trail segments along Argentine and Brownell Streets and up South Clear Creek. See the bicycle and pedestrian map on page 31 and 32. And if you have your comprehensive plan, you can see it there, and I'll switch to that. I guess I'll switch to that right now. And I'll share a different screen. Now I gotta use this one. I gotta get down a few pages. This is that's the transportation plan. Here's the bicycle and pedestrian map. And this is the area around the lake, as you can see. You know, you notice the green, that was completed all the way around the lake. The orange is what's proposed. Once Bighorn's done, they will have a pedestrian trail along the west side of the lagoon. There's also an area on the Greenway Trail along the west side of Argentine that's planned to be done. And then I'll switch to the other page. It gets kind of hard when it's on 2 pages. And you notice from where the little hand is, if you can see that, that's the interchange with I-70. And it's orange to the left on Argentine. That's what's proposed. It's also proposed in blue to the Argentine to the right or to the south, and it continues all the way up to the railroad. And eventually there's a bicycle section or a trail that makes it all the way up to Loveland Pass. That's part of the Peaks to Plains Trail. That's been completed in some parts of the county. Obviously, there's parts within Georgetown that have not been completed. So that's the bicycle and pedestrian plan map. There's also a little portion up here on the very southeast portion of town. That's the Rutherford Trail that obviously goes into the county. And then on the other page, you can probably, it connects to the Saxon Mountain Road Trail and Silver Creek Trail. So it goes off the lake there. Any questions, concerns, comments regarding the bicycle and pedestrian map as it was done in 2016?
No, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
No, I was just gonna say most all of that I've written and stuff, and it's an awesome trail system. It'd be nice to to move forward just that little bit past the lake to get into town, because that's a busy stretch for cars and such, especially on the weekends. With
Right
people
here,
trying,
you're talking about?
yeah, like that little bit there, and then just as Bighorn finishes up their stuff and adds it over there. The only thing with that part, that along the lake, it seems like people will use that more of a hiking trail. As far as the biking trail, it's just that last little bit of stretch.
Right.
On the road there gets busy, and it's tough both ways because cyclists coming up the hill are pretty slow. I mean, cars are always eager to get around. But yeah, the rest of it's awesome.
Anybody else with any comments or concerns? I'll go back to where I was, the place where people live. And this is the background for it. The next paragraph talks about, oh, you can't see where, this paragraph talks about access to Clear Creek will be improved through the construction of the Clear Creek Greenway. And that's the Greenway trail that, will be done with along Argentine and then also along the lagoon area. Georgetown Parks and Recreation Commission oversees park trail and rec development and maintenance. Strauss Park, we're in a design to redo Strauss Park. Then it talks about in City Park, the award-winning Foster's Place Playground. The town also has a community center in historic Georgetown, recently renovated the old schoolhouse, which is still being used at the Georgetown Heritage Center. And then there's a lot of parks. There's numerous additional parks. We have 10 park areas in town. And that includes all those ones that are mentioned there. But it does mention the town doesn't have a dedicated recreation center, and there's a perceived lack of recreational activities within Georgetown to serve youth and senior populations. And then it goes on and talks about the neighborhoods, which I'm sure you all are familiar with, the historic area, kind of the midsection of town, all built in the 70s and 80s. And then the newer part of town further north, from 15th on north, basically. Although some of that was built in the 70s and 80s too. But in several locations throughout town, private property encroaches into public right-of-way. And there's few paths or sidewalks, which is obvious, but I don't know how much encouragement there would be for building a lot of additional sidewalks. People like walking in the street here and trying to keep the vehicle traffic slow. That causes them to slow down too, once the pedestrian traffic and the bike traffic's on the road too. And there's just not a lot of room to put a lot of sidewalks anyway. So the main sidewalk that's just been completed from 15th to 6th on Argentine and Brownell really helps. But I see an area north of 15th on Argentine that really needs to be done. But I don't see a lot of other areas that really need a lot of sidewalks. I don't know if that's your all's opinion as well. But that's one of the goals on here. And then they talk about Georgetown neighborhoods presently have a significant number of second homes and residential investment properties and a number of homes available for short-term rental. And that the recently adopted short-term rental ordinance, which was done at the end of 16 and then started in 17. And there's a lot of talk about making adjustments to that short-term rental ordinance now. So we'll
Got
see where that goes.
rush hour on Second Street here. It's a little noisy, sorry.
You're fine, Wayne.
All
Or
the
Ann.
pickup trucks coming down the hill at this hour every night.
I'm
Yeah,
not
we-
hearing anything. I don't know if anybody else is.
I'm not hearing it either, but I know they do come down pretty fast.
So that's the background. And from that, these are the strategies and priority actions that the board at that time put into place. We had a lack of adequate pedestrian and bicycle trail connections. The strategy is to get a connected trail system. And then the actions is to work with Clear Creek County or the Rec District or Gateway Foundation to pursue funding to complete that. We got it roughed in from 11th to Loop Drive, but we had to take the concrete out of it. And well, that's some future time we'll go ahead and do the concrete for that part of the trail. And then prepare and distribute a trails educational brochure. So that was the actions regarding how to do pedestrian and bicycle trail connections.
On the, as far as distribution of like the trails educational brochures, has that ever been done? Is there anything at the visitor center to give people an idea? I know most of the people that I run into, if they're tourists or whatnot, I try to give them more ideas of, if we get them to park their car and walk around, it definitely helps than them driving around. I kind of like what you had said with, on Argentina, it's nice to have a sidewalk there. And since that road's been finished, it's amazing how fast people will drive through there. I'm definitely in favor of not adding more sidewalks. I think it's nice when the people walk on the street, even when I'm driving, I'm slow enough, and it's nice just to make that face-to-face, kind of wave, and they move over and everybody smiles and stuff. So it is nice slowing people down, especially more in the inner streets. So that's what I got to say.
And Denise, I can't see whether you make a comment or not. So if you make a chat comment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No? You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay, I did it. Good.
Fine.
Okay, so I have a question. On that educational brochure that we did not put together yet, it is in the works to do it. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, and I think it's really connected to the Parks Master Plan.
Okay.
As we get done with that. And whether now that we know what's happening with the trail along the Gateway project,
Okay.
it makes it easier to do that brochure.
Do we have a projected date on that or nothing as of yet?
No,
Okay.
there was some talk with the county for next year regarding the Greenway project, and then it kind of stopped here
Okay.
because all the COVID stuff. So they
Right.
kind of put that on hold.
Okay.
They were starting to really think whether they should go ahead with the application. So, and then it kind of just stalled.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the county's project, we were going to try to join up in so that we could, part of the talking was they were hoping to do some more through the county, and if we could have some through the town that connects with it. And that's basically from 15th or from the freeway interchange north out of town. That connect to the Greenway that would go along the Alvarado, which is the
Right.
frontage road. It runs down to the Dumont and Downeyville and all that.
Right.
So you're talking mostly north of here, not coming this way.
Right. There is a section that needs to be done. That's going to be more. Depends
the
how it
old-
all. If GOCO will let us combine and collaborate with the county
The
on
old,
that part of the project since it's in town. Sorry.
the old trails brochure had the Notch Trail going over my porch and through my backyard. I just want to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Really? I need to mark that down so we keep that in there, Ann. So.
God.
Yeah, you've mentioned that before. I appreciate reminding about that. And whenever we do that brochure, to make sure it's not on.
That's still there, yeah.
The next trend or the goal was, or the trend or issue that needs to be addressed was lack of recreational opportunities for youth and senior populations. And then they just expand the opportunities, and then the priority actions are work with the Park and Rec Commission to fund, prepare and adopt a Parks and Rec master plan, and that's in process now. The second priority action was work with CDOT to pursue funding to a new park and playground in the lagoon area that's proposed for dredging. The dredging project occurred, and actually we just took down the orange fence around the area because the vegetation has grown up well enough now that it's healthy enough. The willows will take some more time to fill in. But that area on the southeast corner of the lagoon, and let me get to a map. Whoops, next previous page. If it'll show it. This area right in here is town property where that blue, couple blue in there. And part of the master plan, or one of the things that I'll really try to push, and I think some other members of the park board will do as well. There's a pedestrian bridge right here that crosses the creek right before it becomes a lagoon, basically at the last part of where it's just a narrow creek before it enters the lagoon. From that pedestrian bridge to walk along the lagoon edge until you get to this area, there's a little parking area right across from the condos there, the Silver Queen condos. And there's a boat ramp that's basically just for town's use. It's not for anybody else, although people could take their canoes off that boat ramp. But there should be a little walking path there, and that allows people to access from the pedestrian bridge and not walk through the people's properties there. If there was a designated path, it would be much better. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking at doing with the master plan. But that beach has turned out pretty neat. That people were worried with the dredging project that the vegetation and the waterfowl and the other animals wouldn't come back, but the vegetation has come back great. And I think it'll encourage the wildlife in that corner of the lagoon pretty good. So I don't know if you guys have seen that as yet or come across that lately.
Yeah, I think it's all looking great. We're down there plenty.
And then it says on a third priority action for the lack of rec opportunities is work with the rec district to pursue funding for the design and construction of a rec center in Georgetown. I think that's a lot less feasible right now with the rec center in Idaho Springs, but I don't know what. And if you were here at the time when this update was done, what the conversation was regarding that.
I don't see how we can fund it, so.
Yeah.
Well, do we even have a place that we would put it? Is there even a place? Location.
Can't think of one. I had in a previous community that they took one of their buildings downtown and converted it into a fitness center. It was a small one, but it worked very well for that community. But I can't see that being a real opportunity here. So.
Well, yeah, and I know with Georgetown, with all the VRBOs and such, I don't think we have the population, especially like Idaho Springs, for what they offer. And also too, it's not a crazy far drive, I guess. We wouldn't pull people from there. We would just pull people, I think, from Georgetown and a few local areas.
I don't know. Personally, I can't even afford to go to the one in Idaho Springs. How can we do one up here?
Yeah, I've never been to
I can't use it. It's too expensive.
it.
Well, before they built the addition, it was free.
For us old folks.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea. I don't know, but I think what they've done in the past is the rec center has like sponsored programs that we could do up here, you know, like soccer, or I mean we have basketball, you know, we could do little things in our area and just kind of they organize it and get the teachers. That's what they're always lacking, is either the teacher for the class, or a, you know, game, or like a coach or something like that. But
And they did things
we
at the
could connect
community
with
center.
them.
They did things
Yeah,
at the
true.
classes in the community center and stuff like that. So yeah, they've been pretty good about coming up here.
Well, and I was going to say too, the only other thing I would add is if you could base it out of like the gym as far as the school here in town, you know, if there was any way possible to do it off of that to keep the cost down and help benefit the school for certain programs and such too. But I have no idea how that stuff works.
Sure.
Because with the whole gym floor and stuff, you'd have basketball and you do volleyball and all those different things. But I don't know, with it being a charter school, if that's, you know, something that would be available, or, you know, if they had a weight room there, if there was a way to do that.
Well, and I think even one day events would be helpful if and I think once we get the Parks Master Plan done, I think, and now that we have a special event coordinator, there can be special events. And I think that some of those can occur at the lake, you know, whether it's a canoe thing,
True.
thing, a fishing tournament, or at our courts, a pickleball tournament, a tennis tournament, you know, 1 or 2 day events that, you know, the rec district monitors or sponsors, you know, those type of things, I think, are some ways to fill in the gaps and have stuff that actually happens here in Georgetown. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
any other comments regarding those priority actions? Then the next one is the enhancement of public spaces was the issue, and the key strategy was improve the quality of quality of public spaces and rights of way. I think we've done part of that with the Gateway project. Although this inventory sidewalk conditions and fund improvements, the sidewalks we do have, some of them are in disrepair and need to be addressed. It's, you know, and in the areas that the town controls, there are some things that we need to do, and we've recognized that with the parks. The flagstone sidewalk that's around City Park is not in great shape in some areas, and that needs to be addressed. And actually, it is one part of it can possibly get addressed this year. So
Okay.
that was with that. I think that's more identified in the actual spreadsheet.
Mhm.
And then the last one they had was the impact of short-term property rentals. Since this is talking about how a place where people live, it does affect different neighborhoods, all the short-term rentals.
Mhm.
And they have a key strategy to protect the integrity of Georgetown's residential areas by regulating short-term property rentals. And then the action was monitor the effectiveness of the new short-term property rental ordinance and consider additional measures to reduce the impact of property rental as necessary. And there are some taxes associated with it. And I think there's going to be building pressure to modify the short-term rental ordinance here. So we'll see if that continues or gathers steam to do so.
My issue with that is how it affects the cost of buying a house or or, you know, people living here. It's really affecting the fact that people can't afford to live here because you can buy this house and rent it out for $1,000 a night and people can't afford to live. That scares me.
Yep.
That's true.
Could
We
we
have
ever,
such a, go ahead, Nan, or Denise, I'm sorry.
Well, I've been looking, we're looking like, for instance, you know, Kent, for property, and it is hard. And like you were saying, it's ridiculous. And I don't know if people can actually come in here new and buy, because I don't know how affordable it is anymore. We stopped looking, you know, we're here, and for right now, we're gonna have to stay. And, you know, when you look at all the short term, especially where I'm at the condos here, we have a lot of Airbnbs. And I don't know what our percentage is. I don't know if we have a zone that says you can only have a third of what your population is with residential. I don't know if we have any of that set up. Like, what's our limit on people who have rentals or second homes? Like,
Each
It's-
ward has a limit.
oh, okay. Okay, so that's how it works.
Yeah, and so we get clusters of short-term rentals, and it affects certain building, you know, certain condo complexes,
Right,
just because it's denser within that pocket,
right.
even though within the ward, and it's only 7% of properties. We have
Okay,
about 45, give or take a few, short-term rentals in town,
okay.
officially.
Official.
There may
Officially.
There's a lot more than that.
Some may do it on the sly, but
Right.
the ones that we know about, they get shut down pretty quick. But so there's, you know, there's that number, and there's going to be some additional with the Bighorn project as far as they'll be connected with the townhomes will be connected with the hotel,
Okay,
and that's a short-term rental for the
Mhm.
townhomes, but that will be all clustered together.
Mhm.
About half of the townhomes.
And they
can
have
be.
they have to book those through the hotel though, don't they?
Yep, they have to go through a hotel and the management company there. But it does affect, and then the census, the one thing that surprised me when I first came here was that over 200 homes were considered vacant or unoccupied by the census, because out of 600, so 30%. With the additional numbers, I made it 30 instead of 33%. But
But
about
aren't a lot-
30% of homes were unoccupied or vacant. And that's a lot, a big
That is.
percentage.
But aren't a lot of those homes belonging to maybe family members that don't care anymore, that grandma, grandpa, or mom and dad, or whomever might have had it?
That's some of it.
Okay,
That's the second or third or fourth generation that's owned the house. And
that's really sad because they're not taking care of them either. They're just letting them sit.
yeah, if they're, you know, here a couple weeks in the summer and a couple weeks in the winter, or
Right,
different weekends, you know, I forget what the criteria was, but I think it was 10 months, if it's 10 months vacant, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
okay.
Then it was considered vacant. So even the people that are here for just a month or two, you know, which we
Yeah.
have several folks, and some of those folks become real members of the community. So
Mhm.
I don't want to discourage those folks, but
No,
we got too many homes that are unoccupied. So, but the short-term rental, as far as buying properties, we at Town Hall here get called frequently asking whether it would qualify for the short-term rental as soon as a property comes up for sale. And we have to answer those questions about what the procedure is. And, you know, if they're in Ward 3, which is the area down by the lake, there's a waiting list of way too many that they won't, you know, it wouldn't be a investment for them. So, but the other places, it gets to be a question, and sometimes it's hard to answer those questions because it's like, okay, you're from out of town and you're looking at a property here. It's nice that they're interested in Georgetown, but it's like when, and this may be a soapbox comment, so I'll try to, are you going to become a member of the community? Are you going to contribute to the community?
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I guess I'm getting that Georgetown attitude. So.
I'll be a soapbox too. My son's lived here all his life and he's been looking for 7 years for a house and things just keep going up because of these part-time rentals.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I was thinking maybe as a suggestion to the Board of Selectmen, maybe we could, have something where they live here for at least a year before they're allowed to just short-term rental it out. It's just an idea. I don't know.
Is that possible to do? That would be an awesome idea.
Yeah. It
I
would
don't
be.
know the legality of that. I don't.
Where is Jerry? Why is Jerry not here?
I think I've seen other towns do it. So we could research it,
It's a good idea.
No, it is, Jen. It's a good idea.
You can do 5 years then if you're going to do that.
There you go.
At least they're here until they're out of school.
So these are I went to the spreadsheet and back.
Mhm.
And it has basically the 7 things involved with the place where people live, the different actions. And we've done a couple of those. And then on the next page, it talks about who's responsible for it. I can't show that on this screen.
Right.
If you bring up if you have your book with you, you can see it as it comes across. But I guess, we are working on the Parks and Rec master plan. I really think that's going to make a big effect, and it will affect some of the other ideas that were put forth in this comp plan, or things to get done, action steps. And then, like I said, probably the trail linkages, once the Park and Rec master plan is done. The trail linkages and the educational brochure will come pretty quick. And then the other one that's probably going to be affected is the short-term rental thing. So.
Okay.
How do you think they want to change on that short-term rent? Sorry. What do they think they want you to change on there?
What do we want to change on there?
Yeah, on the short-term rental.
I really think the design and construction of a rec center in Georgetown really is not feasible.
So
I
he's
can
talking about,
see having the rec being involved, but
he's talking about changes in the short-term rental plans.
Yeah,
all the
like
changes
Oh.
in the short-term rental.
Percentage.
I don't know what's going to be talked about. We're going to have an appeal of a short-term rental application at the next board meeting, because that short-term rental is in Ward 1, which is the historic area downtown and to where Ann lives and other places, basically from 9th Street south to 1st Street, 8th and 9th to 1st. That's Ward 1. It's mainly historic homes.
Mhm.
That's generating the most comments and the most opposition to any short-term rentals, and then some suggestions regarding reducing the percentage, or even going as far as reducing it entirely for Ward 1. But that would involve property rights, so I don't know how that works legally.
Mm.
But I think there might be a pretty good push to reduce the percentage or number in neighborhoods.
Let me ask you this question. If, for the way that the VRBOs work, comparable to like if you take Lloyd's Place with Clear Creek Inn more as a bed and breakfast, if you changed it to more of a bed and breakfast, because I think those kind of work. Families usually live there. Lloyd's always there. You keep the families here, but then you also offer up a place for people to stay in the historic part. Does that tie into legal issues of not allowing VRBOs although you still have those bed and breakfast.
No, they
That's
don't
a-
qualify. It's a different category.
Gotcha. So you couldn't cancel out the VRBOs by law, even though you have those.
The Lloyd's would still be allowed to operate. There's other people that operate a short-term rental that live on the property,
Well,
and they're
that's
not, and they're not counted towards the total. So,
got. Well, but my point being is if you didn't technically have VRBOs or you made it so that people actually had to live there to VRBO it, I think would be a huge change, especially for the storage. Does that make sense? Not
Yeah,
take-
excuse me. Not to interrupt, but I've heard that's what they do in Denver. I like that idea.
So across the street from me is a bed and breakfast. What's the difference between a bed and breakfast and a Airbnb? I mean, people living there, is that the difference?
The
Yes.
people, yeah. The people who own the property have to live there. Is that what you're saying, Dwayne?
Yeah, 100%. Because then
Yeah.
that changes everything, and you're not on people's rights, I guess. But then also too, it would, if you take away the normal VRBO of people not living here and renting out their house and people partying, it kind of changes it to more of a business, I think. And I know just with the way that Lloyd runs his, and my wife knows the other family. I don't live over that way to see what goes on, but it seems a little bit nicer. People are there full time. And yeah, you have some people coming and going.
What
But-
I'm referring to is like Rose Street Bed and Breakfast. They've got a business license, so that's the difference there.
Well, exactly too. But too with the VRBOs, you have to get permits and
You have to get a
stuff.
business
You have to
You gotta get a permit.
But the VRBOs take away from people like them who are actually living here trying to run a business, which I like. I like the way that Lloyd, all the work we've done in his place, all the improvements, what he's turned it into. I think it's much better. It's tough if they have to compete against somebody that's not living here, just VRBO in their house.
there's two different categories of customers. The ones that go to Lloyd's and the Rose Street B&B and Horseman's B&B. That's a different category, different type of customer than the ones that, just grab a place for a night.
Right.
It's
That's what-
often
That's why we got
different
the
sets. But yeah, we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. But it does affect the character of the neighborhoods. But I think even in addition to the short-term rentals, though, there are a lot of, it's how do we encourage people to live here
Yes.
more of the year, even if it's a part-time house, it's a second house. How do you encourage them to be here more often, just so that and to participate in the community? Because, there's a certain generation of people involved with Georgetown is starting to turn over right now, as far as folks either having to move away for medical reasons or for other reasons.
Mhm.
And, there needs to be that next set of folks that really carry the community. So, and how to encourage that, how to encourage people that come to the community to get involved with this community, even if they're a second homeowner. While you're here, can you become involved with the community and make Georgetown a better place while you're here? So.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people I run into, especially working at a house over by the lake, people that just kind of wander a little bit away. There's a lot of people that would love to be up here. They have little questions, is the winters really that bad and stuff.
No,
And I don't think it is comparable to, comparable to like Denver and stuff for what you get up here, even if you had to work in Denver and drive there. To me, it's a no-brainer, especially for all the people that are trying to get up here every weekend. We're up here, we get to enjoy it. So it's the toughest part is finding houses and such, us for building costs. Cause if we're getting ready to do a spec house here pretty soon. and are listed, you know, we'll probably list that one to build only so we could kind of, you know, not alienate certain people, but we can actually, you know, if they show up, you know, if the husband shows up with the wife and kids and man, we love this town, we want to be a part of it. Okay, cool. That's the person I want to talk to build for. Not somebody that's looking for another investment place or whatnot. Sean that owns the house on Rose Street, he owns a lot next to it. I think eventually he's going to list that. The price seems pretty decent, but the house he'll build next to that is in hopes that eventually in the next 3 or 4 years he can move here and live here. With him, some of the questions that he has is, oh, it seems like the town's tough to work with. It's like, well, then get involved. It's actually not. We try to keep a control on stuff, and you know, if you're involved, you understand that, and it's easy to work with. It's possible to get families here. I think it takes time. I think definitely better rules with the VRBOs to kind of start pushing those away. I just don't see how a lot of these people are making enough money to make it worth it with the amount of money they spend on a house. That still just doesn't, the numbers just don't add up to me. And Doug, which rents his house out, ran away at the thought of even doing a VRBO just because of all the stuff involved with it. And, you know, rents it yearly to a nice family. So, yeah.
Not that you care about this, but since you're throwing anecdotes out, my husband commuted to Denver for 30 years. It's very doable.
Yeah,
And
I would do it. I did it back in St. Louis. It was, you know, a 40-minute drive to get to the city and stuff. And it never, there was no way I would live in Denver. If I worked in Denver, I would still live up here.
he'd rather commute to work than to play.
Yes.
Okay. I did have a question from the board as far as a spreadsheet of, or a calculation. Denise had written a question asking for what has been done so far. We've gone through, what, 4 categories now?
Yes.
And I asked my staff to put this together, so they did a good job.
Awesome.
Of course,
But
they
this gives an idea of what has been completed.
Okay.
You know, on the first one, I don't know if it's the very first one. Yeah, it is. Clean and safe environment
Mhm.
was to update the Title 21 flood prevention regulations. And I'll go ahead and email this to y'all.
Okay,
Thank you.
They've finished this up this morning. In compliance with Colorado Water Conservation Board recommendations. Most of the other ones in that category have not been complete, but the compact community has update the subdivision infrastructure design standards and then update the sign regulations. They did do that for the content neutrality part of it. There's more that needs to be done with the sign regulations. That's a pretty big project anymore. Because of the legal rulings, the Supreme Court rulings and other Colorado State Supreme Court rulings regarding what can you regulate on a sign. Makes it difficult. A place where people live, you know, we're starting on the Parks and Rec Master Plan, obviously. And I thought there was I guess that's the main one that's been in the process of being completed. And then talking about a healthy community, and this community business marketing plan includes a brochure. They did have that. And then obviously the fund, the lighting, the pedestrian bike access, improvements from 15th to the 6th on Argentine and from 11th to Argentine on the other side of the street. Then probably the stuff that we've completed the most is a system of quality public services, which we're going to talk about next time. Is we've replaced water lines in Clear Creek Drive. We've replaced a water line in Brownell Street. which caused the street to be closed for about 3 months last year, which was not good. But, and there's another one that we're about to get started on Taos. The town's water treatment facilities, improve the water supply intake structure for the water treatment plant, which we did. We dredged the lagoon. We are lining sanitary sewer mains on an annual basis, and we identify and eliminate improper service line connections.
Okay.
And then efficient transportation network, we did establish a permit for truck hauling. And then the bus service has been started. And then the town leased lot on Argentine, it's special event parking right now. It hasn't moved further towards a transit center that CDOT would have to be involved with. So,
Okay.
but that is a short list of the stuff that we've actually accomplished because of this comprehensive plan in 2016. So stuff that does come up in here does get done eventually, but
I do have one little announcement I heard today about the Prospector bus. It's supposed to start back up on Monday, they're hoping. So that'll be running and it's going to be free.
I saw it yesterday. It
kinda
wasn't
cool.
running. I thought it
Maybe
was
they were
running.
testing it.
Okay.
Maybe they were testing it. I don't know.
starting to run the route, yeah. So, but this is where we can keep going as we go.
I do have a question. It didn't come up tonight, but I read it in some of this and I'm not finding it. It was talking about calming on Second and Rose. What is calming? I've heard that for 3 years and nothing's happening. What is calming?
Spell that for me, Ann. I'm not understanding which word you're saying.
It says CALMING, calming at Second and Rose. What does that mean?
It means to have a street structure that slows you down and is calm.
Trust me, nobody goes slow up here. I mean, I had a row of 18 motorcycles go up at 40 miles an hour. That is not slow. What does that mean? What are they going to do?
Well, and I think we're going to start installing other traffic devices that will, because what you want to do is change the behavior. And in order to change the behavior, you need to have physical things that actually change behavior. It's just like this last weekend, the police said they wrote over 30 tickets
In my front yard.
in your neighborhood, man. So,
Awesome.
But nobody goes slow. I don't know what calming means.
but
is
that
what I'm
helps with
getting at.
only that person. The next person, you know,
What, I just don't know what calming means. And you saw what happened with the temporary speed bump that we put up here.
right. And
Where
I
it
think
turned
we need
upside
to,
down and it just didn't work because it got pulled out immediately.
right.
So I
think
just
it needs to be
didn't
more
know,
substantial. So,
I just didn't know what calming meant. It just to slow people down.
yeah, it's like different parkways in the larger towns. They'll have a medium strip.
I
If
just,
you put trees and stuff.
it's a term I didn't get, so I wanted to ask.
Yeah. You do different things as far as separate the bike lane or you, different types of curbs,
Okay. So
different
just
types of landscaping. It's all those-
ideas that might slow people down and give people a different idea is what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Okay, thank you.
Now, if we put a tree down in the middle of the road, that might slow them down. So,
The best answer I heard was a whiskey barrel in the middle of Rose and 6, kind of like a traffic circle to slow people down. Just a whiskey barrel. I thought that was a great idea.
yeah.
I think it's a great idea too, Ann.
Sorry.
It's the same problem with I think around the town. I talked to Joel some. He's got ideas. Everybody has some good ideas. I know somebody had mentioned hiring another officer.
We
You
need
know-
another officer.
I'm with you, and the tough part about it is it's like Ken said. There's so many tourists that come through that for every one person you ticket, they're probably not going to speed the next time they come through, but we have tons more people. I'm in favor of putting stop signs at every 4-way stop.
But my
Yeah,
point is they don't look at stop signs.
no,
My husband was out pointing at the stop signs and they didn't stop. I mean, it's not gonna work. So, but I just wanted to know what calming meant. That's all I was getting at. I know it's hopeless. I understand.
I don't think it's hopeless. I think it's just implementing all these ideas. It's crazy out in front of us, the neighbors put, slow children playing, and it's like they just blow right by and don't look. It's the whole mindset of drivers these days, and me and my wife going down the frontage road, we biked down to Lawson. On Sunday afternoon, it was amazing. I almost witnessed 4 or 5 head-on collisions. They gave us plenty of room, even though we're in a bike lane past them, but they were in the other lane on a blind corner doing at least 50 miles an hour in oncoming traffic. I don't know how you get into people's head that you're not going to get any faster if you kill somebody or get in a head-on collision. It's scary. And it takes away too, Saturdays and Sundays, it takes away those people may be coming up to bike from Idaho Springs to Georgetown and back and whatnot if you have such aggressive drivers. I would give anything to help with that, just to get them to slow down.
Yeah. I agree. Well, Dwayne, I think that's all I have for you tonight, besides the minutes. So
Awesome. Can we get a motion to approve the June 17, 2020 meeting minutes?
Well, I wasn't here, but I'll move to approve them.
Yeah, Ed, Denise, I'm trying to think of who was actually here. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then let's adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, guys.
Night.
Hey, Denise, you
Yes,
still there?
sir.
You had mentioned land and stuff. What are you guys looking for? Like, are you guys looking for a new build, something that's already there? What kind of price range?
Well, we're looking
Excuse me. You guys, we're on the internet right now. Maybe you can have that discussion privately.
Okay.
Oh, no problem. Well, Denise, can
Yeah.
you give me a call? Well, it's something that would kind of maybe tie into the meeting, but
Okay.
give me a call. I would chat with you over some stuff just to get a feel, because it would better help more stuff that we talk about down the road.
Okay.
Affordable housing. I don't know what kind of
Yeah.
price that is or what people are looking for.
Okay. Will do.
Yeah, give me a
Thanks,
buzz.
Dwayne.
Yeah,
Thanks. Have a good night.
see you
Good
guys.
night, Ed.
Aye. Good night.